Hey there, my friend Perry Tinsley here. This morning I was wondering, a lot of times I watch some YouTube training, some seminars and things like that. And just the way this guy worded it, triggered a thought in my mind with what are the habits that people who, I'm going to call it fail at their health and fitness, that type of, where you start and stop, you're like, why can't I stick with this? That the people that fail at their fitness plan time and time again, what are the habits that they just don't like to do? I bet you just thought about like 20, 30 of them, right? But as you can imagine, it's a pretty healthy list. Ooh, I like the way I inserted that. But let's see if you can identify with any of these. And I know I did. Some of the things I still identify with them. But I wondered, what if you flip the script on your mindset and your attitude about them and really question some of these to where if you're like, hey, the next month I'm really going to work on this, it can change everything with your health and fitness results should you be in that place where you're in that start and stop cycle. Let's talk about that. And first, I do want to thank you so much for being on another Power Blast podcast where we provide nourishment for the soul, allowing you to transform from the inside out, providing you rapid results in mindset and fitness so that you can recharge your battery. And I'm talking about your mental and your physical battery so that you can reclaim your power, right? And before we get into that stuff, I do encourage you, when you have a moment or when you are at that point, please go over to the website, talktoperry.com. There's my calendar. It's wide open for podcast viewers and listeners, and it's all about keeping your energy high. I know a lot of times things like, oh, it's gosh, high energy, but really, I often ask the question, how would your life look different? And what could you accomplish if your mental and physical battery is running at 100% as opposed to a 6-year-old smartphone with 2% battery life and you don't have a charger in sight? Oh my gosh, did I just send a panic through your soul there? I don't know. But anyway, that's at talktoperry.com because I want to help you do that. We just chat about 15 minutes. So I can help you out, give you 3 strategies so that you can reclaim your time, boost your energy, and make yourself a priority. So people who struggle with consistent health and fitness often have difficulty with certain habits. Now, I think sometimes it ends up being where there's kind of this resistance that happens, like, I just don't want to do that. Now, I'll tell you the ones that pop into my head, but one of them is consistency. Sticking to a regular exercise routine, maintaining healthy eating. A lot of times people find that to be challenging, and that can play a big part on your results, right? Another one is goal setting, being clear on goals. I will often talk to people and they'll be like, I just want to get in shape, lose some weight. And that is so not very clear and not well defined enough to where there's a lot of, hey, if it happens, it happens. And a lot of times people just don't stick with it. Another one is tracking progress. And now I don't know what it is with me, but for years of many different things, tracking just seemed to be such a downer, such a drag. And it's so important whether you're going to track your food or track your workouts or just track your progress. So one of the things I did in time is I just put an X on the calendar. Did I show up? I was like, how can I make tracking simple for myself? Eventually it got to where I was tracking food and stuff like that because it really, I started to get momentum. But tracking was another one of those things that really just like, wow. Time management. A lot of times we wear that busy badge and we just don't allocate the time for ourselves and really commit to a health and fitness plan. So that's where that usually ends up. Nutrition is another one. And I'm not sure why. I know maybe because there's so many temptations out there. Maybe we just get bored with it. But maybe it's just not enough creative things to make. I don't know. But we have a lot of mindless eating habits that, it's processed foods, it's convenience foods, it's foods that really kind of have almost like a gravitational force on us that if we get away from that so long, we try to get back to that reset point of like, oh my gosh, I gotta have my chips, I gotta have my cookies and cakes and whatever else it is. You probably can insert your own thing there. Another big one is patience, because that convenience thing that we wanted. We want the convenience. We also want the instant results. So it ends up being where we resist this mindset of, hey, am I going to put in all this effort and not seeing any results? So we're checking the scale, we're checking our measurements, we're checking all these things, and a lot of times we end up giving up on a plan just before, and it's actually really close before we start having a breakthrough. Prioritizing yourself, that's another big one. Adequate sleep is a big one. Stress management is another one. And another one is seeking support. When I started, I was like, I just want to do my own thing, because I felt like I would be judged, or I would be getting opinions from others, especially others who did not have the same goals as me. And I just didn't want to deal with that variable. But often that could be a big momentum surge for people when they have the support or around other people who are going after a similar goal. That could be a big difference maker. So, as I was thinking of those things, what would be some simple, impactful daily actions should you actually have a strong desire to achieve those goals? Now, I know we have our moments where it's like, darn it, I got to do something. And, we're all fired up and committed at the moment, but that momentum or that motivation can easily fade away or easily be replaced because of another distraction, right? So sometimes it's just reframing your perception of, when you get to that sticking point, identifying and becoming aware of what your sticking points are. Some people, this is one of the things I got on my little YouTube training today, was asking yourself the question: Are you going to be influenced by where you're going, by what your goals are, or are you going to be influenced by defending the reasons for where you're currently at and why you can't do something? And so many of us will defend why we can't, why it's not the right time, why we're too busy, all this justification stuff. And we step up and we defend it. And a lot of times it's just knee-jerk reaction. So I'm here to just say, pay attention to that. Become aware of that. And then set yourself some big goals and break them down. A lot of times people say, set small, achievable goals. You know what? I'm like, go for your whole goal. Whatever your big goal is, make that your big goal. Maybe it's something you've never achieved before. Then you could dial it back and say, what are the mini goals that I need to get there? Smaller tasks, and add up those small wins. Scheduling in exercise to get it done. That was the first side of the X when I put on my calendar. I showed up for my exercise that day, and I identified that's one of the things when I became aware. I'm like, okay, I usually get home from an hour drive home after work, a long day of work. I've got a dog rescue to run. I've got 2 home businesses in the video and web design. I just need a little relaxed time. And I figured it out. I became aware that it was in that little relaxed time when I got home that burst the motivation out of the sail. And I'm like, okay, I am not going to use that anymore. That's going to be exercise time. I just did a swap. And guess what? The sit down time that I wanted for motivation never or rarely ever gave me the motivation, because I would just get more and more relaxed throughout the night, and then I didn't want to do it. But when I got home and let the dogs out, got into my workout clothes, let the dogs in, went and got my workout done, that not only empowered me and put me in more control, but it surged my energy through the rest of the night. And I thought, isn't that interesting? So it's making the time, making that the priority. Meal planning in advance. That can be huge. And I know sometimes you're like, I really don't want to do that. But you know what? It can be a difference maker. Test it out for 30 days. With the groceries you're buying, what you have on hand, do an audit of your kitchen, a kitchen makeover of some sort. Get rid of the unhealthy, tempting stuff, the stuff that you're holding on to just in case somebody pops in, an unexpected visitor, and you'll make those brownies in the cupboard? No, you won't. You're going to grab the brownies when you're feeling defeated, when you're stressed out, and you're not going to eat one brownie as a treat. You're going to eat half the pan. Come on now. Get a support network. That can be huge. Practice stress management. Deep breathing. It can be, deep breathing, that just a few cycles of that. Box breathing, breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4. Do 3 to 5 cycles of that. Be a big game changer for you. Spending time out in nature. Prioritizing sleep. A lot of times people are going to bed with their devices on. If you strive for 7 to 9 hours, do that for the next 30 days. See how that makes a difference for you. Drink lots of water, more than you think that you need. So just remember, each person's experience, they're going to, some of these things, I don't know which ones you related to. For me, it was like the tracking and the consistency and the time stuff. But, once I became aware of those, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to test this out for the next 30 days. My big goal is this, but I'm going to take it in 30-day chunks. I accomplished big things. It's been over 20 years now since I made that decision. I made that committed decision, and that can lead to positive changes. So what will that be for you? Will you be just sitting and listening, or even watching this podcast and just going, yeah, that's a good idea, Perry, and then get distracted by something? And if that happens, there's an awareness moment there. What will be your action? Are you going to be influenced by your future goals and what you're going, where you're heading? Or are you going to be influenced by the current results around you and justify why you're there and why you need to stay stuck? Just know you can use your power to take control, or you can let the excuses, the justifications, the rationalizations, the alibis, whatever things you want to put in that category, even comparison, you can let those control you and drain your power. It's really deciding and committing to yourself and your goals and choosing to figure out new ways, looking at possibilities, learning and growing, and keep moving forward. You've got this, my friend. I'd love to hear your top takeaway from today. Drop those in the comments. I promise I will respond and reply to those. I often do. And just know that you absolutely rock. And remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week. That's another Power Blast podcast in the books. Thanks so much for tuning in. And remember, when you are ready to recharge your battery, make sure you go to talktoperry.com. That's talktoperry.com. That's Perry. And I want to listen. I want to hear, what's going on. I want to help you in that 15-minute call to recharge your battery and reclaim your power so that you're off and running and creating massive momentum toward your dream. Also, every day I am delivering more motivation, support, tips, and strategies inside my free community with amazing people like yourself. And we are conquering the mindset and the fitness. I do 52 weeks of free training in there. Plus, I coach and I mentor people, as well as give you access to tons of resources and guides. It's called my Upside Down Fitness community because we work on a lot of mindset stuff, the inside stuff. And we're a fun group of people striving to make healthier habits in this awesome chapter of life. So make sure you get in there. I promise you'll absolutely love it. Just head over to upsidedownfit.com and you can get into the group. And hey, you would be an awesome friend if you get over to iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast and leave an honest rating and review for the Power Blast podcast. It helps awesome people like you find this show even faster, and that's who I'm looking for, awesome people like you. That's all I have for this week, my friend, and just to let you know, you absolutely rock. That's all I have for this week. I'll see you on the next Power Blast podcast, and always remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week.